This show is produced by the Hartman Media Company. For more information and links to all our great podcasts, visit hartmanmedia.com.
Number one, I love your show. I love, the way that you go deep into business and then go, on some of these other tangents of experiences that as business people we all have. So thank you for putting out such good content because it's impactful. It is really impactful.
Welcome to the Creating Wealth Show with Jason Hartman. You're about to learn a new slant on investing, some exciting techniques, and fresh new approaches to the world's most historically proven asset class that will enable you to create more wealth and freedom than you ever thought possible. Jason is a genuine self-made multimillionaire who's actually been there and done it. He's a successful investor, lender, developer, and entrepreneur who's owned properties in 11 states, had hundreds of tenants, and been involved in thousands of real estate transactions. This program will help you follow in Jason's footsteps on the road to your financial independence day. You really can do it. And now, here's your host, Jason Hartman, with the complete solution for real estate investors.
Welcome to episode 2192 and greetings from beautiful Croatia, where I've been talking to you from the last few episodes, actually. Today, we're going to do something really special. We're going to give you some free content that is normally only accessible to our Empowered Investor Pro members. And that is such an important topic. We've been wanting to teach you, and we have been teaching you for, maybe 12, 14 years now about self-management. And this takes a deep dive into it. So I think you're really going to like that. That'll be the main part of our show tonight. But first, since I am on the super yacht that I chartered and invited a bunch of great friends and experts for a mastermind, I have got one here that is going to answer the question. And we're going to do a full episode with him and a lot of content with him later. But I just wanted to introduce him because he's one of our attendees here. And he brings to bear an expertise that a lot of you ask me about literally many times a week. And that is becoming a global citizen. And there are really maybe four major pillars to that. One is second citizenship, second passports. The other is visas and residency programs. The other would be offshore asset protection. And then the fourth pillar might be tax savings, tax avoidance, tax planning. So I want to introduce to you Matthew Sumner, who is an expert on becoming that global citizen. And Matthew, you got a glass of wine in your hand.
I do.
We've got about 25 people here at the Mastermind with us on the super yacht this week, and we are just on our way to dinner in a few minutes. But just wanted to talk with you for a moment about this world that is really like this cottage industry that not too many people talk about. So, Matthew, it's great to have you here, and you've been a real asset to the group in talking about all kinds of great stuff. Tell us a little bit about what you do and about your industry.
Sure. Thanks, Jason. So the first thing and the reason why I believe this is so important, considering your options for second citizenship, residency, etc., is just like in your investments, you wouldn't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Because that puts you up for a lot of risk if there's a major decline. So we look at citizenship and residency in the same way. If you have all of your eggs in one basket, if you only have one passport, one residency, then basically that country has a monopoly on you.
Right.
And whatever comes...
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
The country has a monopoly on you.
Yes, and your money, because, with a flip of a switch, they can change the laws, they can impose new taxes, wealth taxes, all sorts of different stuff. And even in the case, for example, during COVID, which I think Americans saw for the first time, your global mobility went from around 160 countries, visa-free entry, down to 78, the same level as a Cambodian passport.
If you're an American.
If you're an American,
We've
yes.
got a global audience.
Global audience, okay. So you wouldn't want to give anyone a monopoly on you in terms of, your earnings, etc. And one of the best ways to plan for that, either if you have ancestors who are European or of another nationality, or you want to go the fast route, citizenship, by investment. And of course, there's a few other variations of this, but one of the first core tenets of becoming a global citizen is to make sure that you have your global mobility planned, having residencies, having multiple citizenships.
Yeah, and you're doing that yourself extremely well. I mean, you are really following your own advice because you currently live in Milan with your girlfriend who's Italian, and you got her set up in Portugal.
Correct.
Because it's got better tax treatment. You met her in China. Okay. So, I mean, and, I've had Doug Casey on the show many times, as you know, if you've been following my work for any length of time. And Doug Casey talks about being the international man, right? And planting your flag in multiple jurisdictions. I don't know if he calls it the Six Flag formula or the
flag theory.
Flag theory, yeah. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, so the basic concept behind flag theory is that you can live in one place, hold a passport from another place, put maybe your liquid assets in one place, your hard assets or your movable property in another place. And the reason that that's important is because there's a lot of preferential treatment as long as you're not earning money and living in the same country or holding your assets and your job and everything in one country. And so the flag theory basically gives you a lot of flexibility and makes governments much more difficult to pin you down, tax you, abscond with your assets, whether it's bank accounts or real estate or whatever. And so the idea is you just, you diversify, your life and your assets across multiple flags to give you the best flexibility and optionality, which is important.
Which is an absolutely great thing. And I love how you say having a monopoly on you. This is about your sovereignty. And that's what we talk a lot about on the show is not being dependent on, the system, or we talk about beating the system and using inflation to your advantage, for example. So there's just a lot of opportunities but, Matt, who is this for? People listening might be thinking, gosh, this is for like billionaires. This is for James Bond. This is not for me. At what point, what kind of net worth are you talking about to where people need to start thinking about any of these, sort of four pillars or maybe there's one or two of the pillars that I described at the beginning that you think about at one level of net worth and maybe pillar 3 and 4 come in later.
Yeah, absolutely. So even just for people who maybe have an annual six-figure income, you can start taking advantage of some of the opportunities that exist either on the tax side or the residency planning. And then as you go up in net worth, then those are compounding benefits that you can get by implementing more strategies. And of course it has a cost, but let's say, 6 figures and up, it's worth starting to think about. Even if you just think about the destruction of wealth, if you're paying taxes of 30, 40, 50% in some countries, you're losing half of your money before it even comes to you. And there's ways to even plan, even on a relatively, upper middle class income of 6 figures, single digit 6 figures.
Excellent. Good stuff. So look, Matt, there is so much to what you do. And, you organize conferences for this industry all over the world. It's really incredible. It's been incredible to get to know you on this trip and about a month ago beforehand as well, when we met in Milan. So we will do more on this, folks. I promise you. We've done a little bit on it over the years, but we'll definitely take a deep dive into it. Today, though, we're going to talk about self-management and share with you some good free content, that is part of our membership program. So you really should join Empowered Investor Pro. Go to empoweredinvestor.com to learn more about that. But today, you're going to get some of that for free. So here we go. Thanks for joining, everybody. First of all, I want to start off with none other than Carrie, who's got a good story to tell you about how she converted to self-management for one of her own properties. Carrie, you want to start off by sharing that?
Yeah, sure. So I went through the wonderful phase of having a property manager. And so far, I did the turn all through using Hemlane. They're really helpful getting me up and running. I use them for the turn, the move in, the move out. I hired contractors. I even, denied some, and I went and I did Jason's mom's strategy. And I went to the 6th page of Google and I found my own key master and rekeyed the property. All in all, through the whole turn and getting the property occupied, it took maybe a week to get the property a tenant placed. And I increased the rent $50 from what my previous property manager had it. So I probably saved $2,000 on the turn costs and the lease up costs because, your property manager, they took 75% of your first month's rent. And Hemlane took $600. So I saved.
And how much is the rent on that property, Carrie?
$1,600.
Okay, so that's significant savings, yeah.
Yeah. So that alone just made sense for me. So, yep. So everything was cleared, and my tenant has been in there. I gave her 10 days to move in early, just because I was still touching up some things. But I said, if you want to move in, go ahead. And it's been great. Communicating through Hemlane is a piece of cake.
So, Carrie, did you have much involvement in the tenant screening and choosing the tenant? Because I
100%.
think
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us about that. How did
Yeah.
you
So, and I was pulling it up here. I had 39 people actually go and not necessarily apply, but show interest. They showed some communication with Hemlane. They used mostly Zillow is where it looked like a lot of my potential tenants came from. But they used several different platforms, and they would reach out, and some would say, apply. I think I had 4 apply. And a few had some showings. So I got to see when they were going to the showings, all of that, and full communication. I could see them communicating with Hemlane, and then I would chime in sometimes. I don't know if I was supposed to, but I did, and say, hey, I'm, the owner. Can I give you a call? And so I talked to a few of them even, and then just kind of slowly weeded them out based on credit score or their month, how much month's rent they had, qualifications. And then chose, it came down to 2 of them, and we chose one. So.
Mm-hmm. On the credit scores, there's a counterintuitive philosophy, of course, we've all talked about, and that is that you don't want people with exceptionally good credit as your tenants. The common sort of, first level thinking is, you want, great credit scores. That's going to be a better tenant. But those people tend to move out. They don't stick around too long. So tell me how you turn people down with the credit score or weed it out, you said.
Well, let's just say this. I didn't say I took the better credit score, but let's just say, okay, so here it came down to, we'll take a poll about who you guys would take. One was a lower credit score and had HUD voucher.
Yep.
Brand new to HUD. I've never done it. And through Hemlane, I was like, okay, well, we can work this out. We'll figure it out. So there was that. The other one was a military, good credit, but has a small dog. So does anyone want to take a poll? Who would you pick? Did I make the right decision?
Well, so do you have the actual credit scores you can share so we can really quantify?
It was 560 and 620. 560 for the HUD, 620 for the military.
Okay, wow, 564 is pretty low. Okay, that's low. Now, the military tenants, I have had great experience with military tenants. The only problem is they can break your lease if they're deployed, right? So, you can't, a military person always has the right to break a lease if they're ordered to go elsewhere. Yeah, so 560 was the HUD voucher person. And with that HUD voucher, did you know, I don't know if you got this far with it, were they paying all of the rent Section 8 or a portion of the rent Section 8?
She was short about $100 she would owe. And then she did get her mom to co-sign because she didn't meet that 2 times the monthly income, or 3 times. She only had 2 times the monthly income.
Can you imagine only having to pay $100 a month or nothing in rent? This is like a foreign world to us real people, but some people, a lot of people in this country have that deal. It's pretty good if you can get it. Okay, so which one would we take? Well, folks, anybody want to weigh in or ask questions or talk?
Military.
Bob takes the military. Yeah. Anybody else?
Take the military.
Yeah, military. Okay.
What's the pet rent?
Oh yeah, are you charging pet rent?
It was $50 extra a month and a $200 pet deposit.
I like the pet rent.
Yeah, $50 extra is a lot for a small dog. Like for one animal, that's pretty good. Yeah. Carrie, did you feel actually rolling up your sleeves, and doing this yourself versus having it far away with a property manager? Do you feel a lot more empowered now as a landlord? Yeah,
I do. It did feel nice that I knew exactly what was going on. I knew how much they were charging me. I've heard some stories lately of some of our old property management crews that we don't really use anymore, but they're not getting itemized receipts. They're not getting, you're just getting billed. I charge you $500 for paint. There's nothing, itemized about it. Just you had to pay for paint. When I knew exactly what I was getting. One of my, I didn't end up using this guy. He was like $600 more for paint, but he went and did a whole video walkthrough, and we're going to get this wall, this wall, this wall. So I got to see everything that was in the house too. That there was scuff marks, there was a crack in the ceiling, or whatever happened in the ceiling that they needed to fix. So no, it was great. It was great to see it all. The photos come in instantly from Hemling. So I got to see everything. I did what Jason would do. And I just ordered a bunch of stuff from Amazon and I shipped it to my handyman. I said, here you go. It's going to be here. I wasn't charged extra. And I now have a lockbox at the unit that my tenant just stored away too. So any future situations that she can just put it back on.
Yeah, that's cool. So now you're ready and you're empowered. I remember when I banked with the same big bank for many years, those criminals at Wells Fargo. And I remember when I left Wells Fargo and I thought, oh my God, I hate this bank. I just don't want to leave because it's just too complicated. You got all your bill pays set up and all of this stuff. And once I did it and I just bit the bullet, I got all the addresses off the bill pay. I copied and pasted them into a document so I could put them into the new bank, right? And once I did it, I felt like now I'm empowered. I can move banks, right? And, moving banks when you have got a lot of affairs is kind of a big deal, right? And now I think that's how you feel that you are self-managing. So, that you're really empowered and you're kind of a free agent now. You're not beholden to any property manager or anything like that. And you have a relationship with your tenant. And your tenant now has the social pressure of having a relationship with you, which I find to be extremely effective versus them dealing with some amorphous property management company out there in the ether. They don't know, they don't care. It's like they're going to just ask for everything and anything. It's like an institution, but you're a person, right? And usually people feel, decent people, not everybody, unfortunately, but, decent people feel a pressure of a social relationship, and that can work in your favor. So, good stuff.
No, she's texted me. I'm very happy. Thank you for everything. So I did end up going with the military. I figured that would kind of be, I don't know. It just felt, I don't know. So then I made Hemling go and because I talked to both, and the one that didn't get the property, I had Hemling tell her she didn't get it, that they accepted a different.
Oh, so you made them do your dirty work. They made them be the bad guy.
I couldn't do it. I felt so bad.
Now, one interesting thing is, you can make a little bit of pocket change off these applications. And, landlords do this. Big institutional landlords do this. Like, it's really ridiculous how much they take because they'll charge a $200 application fee or some ridiculous thing like that. But, I used Inago on a couple of my rent ups. Okay. And with Inago, and by the way, all of these demos are on my Rent YouTube channel, okay? All of these software demos, whether they be Inago, Hemling, Rent Ready, all of them. You can go see me interview the founders, most of the time the founder or CEO, and they do a software demo on that YouTube. That's not my main YouTube channel. It's my small YouTube channel that is sort of dedicated toward software and technology. Anyway, with Inago, you can charge whatever you want for the application fee. Okay. And then you can select which of the three things, unlawful detainer filing, credit check, and criminal, right? Or you can do two of the three or one of the three or whatever. I do all three. But you actually pay them like, I don't know, $30 for it, and you charge $50 for it, right? So, you make $20 on each deal, and sometimes you get a lot of applicants, right? So this is a common thing, and, just don't abuse it, obviously, but, it's a little extra pocket change that the property manager's been pocketing, okay? And the property manager's been pocketing late fees a lot of the times, so on and so forth. So I just really want people to get empowered and self-manage their properties. Any other questions, thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, what market was it in?
Alabama, Montgomery, so down south.
Montgomery?
Thanks.
Cool. How many people are self-managing at least one of their properties? Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. Good percentage.
So, real quick question on that Montgomery, Alabama. Did you have a problem with the previous property manager? Was there a particular reason that you chose that one?
Well, the previous property manager, for one, their base wasn't near my property. They were a couple hours away. And then the tenant I had in before basically didn't pay for 6 months. And I tried to ask for an eviction.
Terrible.
Should I go into this one, Jason?
Yeah.
Okay, so they ended up not paying. They paid the first month's rent and the deposit, of course, and then they didn't pay for the next 6 months.
And what was the property manager doing all this time?
Right. So I kept asking, let's do this. No, I think we can get it worked out, whatever. I don't know why I listened to them. I just was stuck in my own, okay, they know what's best. So around September, I get a big lump sum of money. And I said, oh, great. They made it up. They paid. This is awesome. But then the next month they moved out and I terminated my property manager. The property manager said, oh, by the way, you owe us back that $4,500.
Oh, don't give it back.
My previous tenant had paid on the credit card and then disputed the credit card charges, and my property manager lost the dispute. Yeah. So now, you get what I'm saying?
They their problem, in my opinion. That is their problem.
Yeah. Okay. So they asked me. So
did you give the money back?
No.
Yeah. Don't do it. Keep the money. Okay. First of all,
my money, it's their fault, right? It's them.
Of course it's their fault. All right. Look, did you agree that they could take rent payments via credit card?
Well, and that's what I asked them.
And how do you lose a rent dispute on a credit card? Like either they rented the house or not. I mean, I don't know if how many of you have merchant accounts in your business? Do you have a business with a merchant account? Yeah, so we have this, and occasionally we get some scumbag that disputes a charge, and we always fight it. Now sometimes it's legit, and we just give in and give them the money back, right? Because sometimes they click the button too many times, and like we just had one that paid like 3 times for one membership to this. That was you, right? Yeah, we gave you your money back. Okay, right. But some of these people, they're just evil. Right. And they just go around charging things. It's like writing bad checks. OK, you get that sometimes. And that's what these tenants did. Maybe if the property manager is being honest with you. Right. But did you agree to let them accept rent via credit card? Like rent should not be on a credit card, folks.
I guess I'll have to look back. But they said it's common that credit cards, otherwise you wouldn't get rent paid if you didn't accept credit cards.
Yeah, I've never accepted a credit card for rent. OK. And I've had probably now, and this is a guess, but maybe 2,000 tenants or more in my life, in my own properties. Okay. And I've never accepted a credit card ever. All right. So don't take credit cards. That's too easy for them to screw around. But I bet the property manager lost that dispute because they didn't do anything about it. They probably just ignored it, didn't fight it, didn't do what they should have done. And it's their problem. Keep the money, Carrie. Okay.
That's what my attorney, Mathia, told me, just keep the money.
Your attorney, Mathia? Oh, Mathia is not an attorney. That's why we're laughing. Anyway, okay. Any other questions or thoughts about this? So, Carrie, you had a victory there. Then you did get paid for all those months. Yeah, good.
Hello. Good night. I'm Ananja here. And this might be still a question, but basically, just like the one time we self-managed, which we don't do it now, but we're about to do it in February, we just made the tenant pay the money on our bank account, and we didn't have any processor like Hemlane or anything. So is it highly advised to have Hemlane or Inalgo, one of these things, or can we just get the rent, let them deposit it on the bank account, or like?
Okay, I don't know. Good question. I really want to answer that question. Okay, that's a great question. So I did it with Hemlane for a while, and it's pretty good, but it's not perfect, okay? Because there is a little delay. Like the first time, there's definitely a delay. You're going to have to wait like a week and a half or something on the first payment. But then, Dana, who's, by the way, been on here, and we'll probably have her on again. She's one of the Hemlane founders, right? She says it gets faster and faster, right? But I just like getting my rent on the first. Okay. And I don't like it when they deposit the money in the account, and I don't like it when they wire the money because I can't tell who put it in there. And I do have all my rents are slightly different, so I can tell by the amount, but they don't always pay the right amount. Okay. What I like is I like them to pay via Zelle. Okay. Because with Zelle, I get a notification when it comes in. With a wire, unless your bank's different, or I don't know how to do this with my bank, I got to go and look, and I got to constantly like log into the website and look and see if it's there, or with the deposit where they walk into one of the branches and deposit it. I don't like that. I want it just via Zelle, that I know who it's from. I get a notification when it came in. And, on my Google Calendar, every month I have an alert on the 3rd of the month. It says rents delinquent. Okay. It reminds me. Right, that the rents are delinquent. I personally like Zelle the best. That's my opinion. And from what I understand, they cannot reverse a Zelle payment. Okay.
So if we're using Zelle, then must we use Hemlane, or like? I mean, I just want to know how strong you recommend.
Good question. All of these softwares, and I don't want to make this all about Hemlane, okay?
Yeah.
There's other systems besides theirs, okay? But, they're one that's available, and Dana's been very supportive, okay? But with any of those systems, you can use all the other features of the software and not use the payment system. Because remember, that clears through their bank first.
Yeah.
And if they go under, or if
Exactly.
they're crooks,
Okay.
I just want the most direct payment I can get. Okay. If I don't get the Zelle on the first, I know it.
Yes.
And that's it. It's just clean. Okay.
Okay, yes. Perfect. Thank you. Thanks.
But you can use all the other features they have and not use their payment system.
Okay,
Now, of course, they want you to use their payment system because they make the float, and they're getting some credits. I'm sure when I used to own an escrow company years ago, you get what they call analysis credits. Okay. And so I had an escrow trust account and, had millions and millions of dollars. If I was a crook, that would have been a good time to be a crook. Okay. Because I could have just taken off with the money, right? And we get what's called analysis credits. They don't actually pay you, but what the bank does is they'll pay for your software. Okay, your escrow software, they'll pay for this, that, or the other thing, right? And apparently this is all totally legit and legal. And so that's, I'm sure, what Hemlane or whatever company is getting, so they're getting some benefit to doing that. And that's why they want you to process it through their system. But I just like it being direct.
Agree. Thanks.
Right. Other questions?
Yes, I have one. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Hartman. I'm your new client. I just started investing in the properties for the MMA, Mike Mullen and Associates, and I'm super happy. So my question, so basically two of my new properties are managed by America's rental managers, right? So basically I'm happy with them, and they put the tenants in place because I live in New York, and so my properties are in Alabama. And my question is, so I think maybe from the ethical point of view. So this is a good management company which helped me to put tenants in place, right? Who they pre-approve them. They make sure that the tenants pay the rent on time and everything is great. And by the way, those properties are new constructions. The point is what is that line, I guess, between when I need the manager to move forward and when I don't need it, and how politically correct, maybe, I don't know how to say it right, to distinguish this point when I can move forward with self-management?
Okay, great question. And thank you for being a new client. And Bob, this relates to the question you asked me earlier on Voxer. Okay, so maybe we bring this all up. Here's the thing, folks. There's an old saying in the world of banking, right? And the old saying, you've all heard it, is he who has the gold makes the rules. Okay. And that is also true with real estate. And here's what I mean by that. Whoever has the asset makes the rules because they have such a big advantage in having the asset that the whole world wants. Okay. Even when it's more of a buyer's market, there's still a scarcity of real estate assets overall. Okay. And so you kind of have to play their game. And one of the prices you pay for playing their game and getting them to sell you the property is you usually end up agreeing to their management. And their management might start out well, and I hate to burst your bubble, Elena, but it's not going to be good forever, okay? It's kind of like dating, okay? It's really good in the beginning, and then it usually fizzles out, okay? Hopefully not always. But ultimately, you just want to be independent of that. If you've got a good property manager, which is such a rare thing, then keep them. But make sure you don't think they're good when they're not really good, okay? Because you're not maybe paying close enough attention to what's going on, okay? So that's the one thing I would say. So just watch them, evaluate the relationship, and just understand that there are some just industries, and, this is just my opinion, okay? Argue with me, anybody, if you want to, but, where usually consumers just don't have good experiences with a few different industries, right? I've given the examples on my show, right? Lawyers. Usually people don't have anything good to say about their lawyer, okay? I mean, and definitely not the other side's lawyer, right? Or the legal system in general, right? And then, Contractors is another one, right? Whenever you need something done at a property, like, contractors, they're notoriously late, they're notoriously over budget. The same with a lawyer, it's like, it's never cheaper than you expect. It's always much more expensive. The results rarely quite as good as you expect. It's usually worse, right? And that's true with property management too. Most of the time, it's just not good. I mean, look, we've given them the benefit of the doubt so many times over the last 20 years that I've been doing this, working with investors nationwide, that I just kind of given up, honestly. And if you're new to investing, have your manager in the beginning, learn from them, and then gain the power to be independent. And I just bet you a lot of money that you're going to have a better experience self-managing. It's really quite easy. And my argument is less time. Okay, I spend like no time on self-management. When I have a property manager, I got to go argue with a third party who's, got their hand in the cookie jar. Okay, I don't want anybody controlling my rent checks. I just want to get the whole check every month. It's just a funny thing when I self-manage, I always get the full amount. When I have a manager, somehow, some way, I don't know, the property always needs this, that, and the other thing. Somehow I just don't get my checks, right? I don't get my full amount. When I say check, I mean Zelle payment, but you know what I mean. Check is kind of an old-fashioned way to say it. Brett, did you have a thought on that?
Thank you so much.
I actually went through that. And I got 12 houses through Jason. And Jason, thank you, because I got my first house in 2014. So we're at about 10 years with you now.
And you're a rich guy now. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, you made me a millionaire, and I've never been my whole life. And you actually did it. So you are the guy. I speak very highly of you.
Awesome. So, I'm honored. That's awesome.
But I feel like you give the best advice. I think it's in your DNA. You just kind of have a good eye for things. So you had said that to self-manage, and I was a little uncomfortable with that at first because it's just like all the unknowns. But what I did after I accumulated a few properties, I just decided to just pick an area because I had like the Deltona, Florida area. Right. And then I had Memphis, and then I went into Alabama. So those are like my three areas because you say kind of do like three markets, right? So I said, I'm just going to do one thing at a time. And as I grow with that, I'm going to go deep. And then after I get in deep, I'm going to go wide.
Perfect.
And that's what
idea.
I did.
Great idea. So you do one market, you do all of your properties in that one market, and then you do another market. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I started to see clearly what I needed to do. And I had my own system, and I would kind of do my own spreadsheets. I just do Google Sheets for my expenses, and I do cash flow. And I just create all my formulas. That took a little time, but I have my own way of doing it. I would just call you're going to need probably like an electrician and an appliance guy, maybe like a septic person if you got like a septic, city's always better, right? Just your basic contractors, and talk to 3 of them or 4 of them and just get a spreadsheet, commit to yourself. It's an investment of your time. And I would just kind of price out. I would say, hey, even if I didn't need work, I would say, I'm looking for someone. I have a few properties here and I'm looking for a handyman. Can you tell me like what you charge and how you do it? And I would just kind of, and you'd be surprised, like some of them don't really tell you till later on in the conversation, like, oh, there's a travel fee or here. And I'm like, I didn't know there were travel fees for contractors, but there is for some places, But some are just very upfront, and those are the kind of the ones, that I like. But that's what I did. And then after like a year or two went by, I could tell which ones are more like prompt, good, you just learn. And then now you have a relationship and it just sticks. And then once you get that, you just go to the next market. It's easier,
Right. But Brett, it's even easier than that. Where are you sourcing your contractors from? All your maintenance people?
Yeah. I mean, I go online. Also too, is I know you could do it. You can kind of look at reviews off of, what's that website?
Yelp.
Was it Yelp? There was another one too, just for contractors. Yeah. That you can kind of see.
TaskRabbit.
Yep. Yeah. I would just go on Google a lot and then just look at reviews, but I would kind of watch how far the reviews go back from the current date. Because when you see chunks of reviews done, like you see 25 reviews done in like the same time span, like 2 months, they're all like friends and family,
Probably a scam. Yeah.
Yeah.
But look, it's better than what you're going to get from the property manager. Because with the property manager, you have only their review, and their review might be unduly influenced by the fact that they're getting kickbacks from them, right? So It's so easy. You are so empowered to just go directly nowadays. It's so easy to go to TaskRabbit.com, Thumbtack.com, Yelp. I mean, Yelp has a whole thing now where you just fill out the work order on their website. It's so easy.
Oh, really?
Unbelievable. And TaskRabbit, it takes like a minute. It's so quick. It's just easy. This stuff's easy nowadays, folks. You know, it wasn't always that way. Okay. I mean, now you're just much more empowered than you used to be. Okay. And you get to know what things are worth, what they cost, what's, you know, when someone's scamming you, when they're not. And it's just easy. Like you never have to even talk to these people. You just do it through the interface on the site. And it's just super quick, you know, a couple keystrokes and you're taken care of. So you're empowered. Okay.
Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. Be sure to check out the show's specific website and our general website, hartmanmedia.com, for appropriate disclaimers and terms of service. Remember that guest opinions are their own, and if you require specific legal or tax advice or advice in any other specialized area, please consult an appropriate professional. And we also very much appreciate you reviewing the show. Please go to iTunes or Stitcher Radio or whatever platform you're using and write a review for the show. We would very much appreciate that. And be sure to make it official and subscribe so you do not miss any episodes. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.